Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's pretty nice here. It finally quit raining. It turned out to be a warmer day than I expected. It's been really chilly, it's almost like the chill was like just passing through, but we're back to warm, so it's looking good. The sun was out for a little bit. It's not too bad. I'm gonna go on a bike ride here in a bit, so that'll be lovely. But I just want to do this video because it was such a good day yesterday, man. I love when like I am full of energy. It's just like it's so rewarding and fulfilling. Like just the things that come to you, the thoughts. It's like, dude, there is love like permeating out of my body. Like just like for the world, for nature, for God, for people around me, like you know what I mean? It's the best. Still loving the vibe today though. Still good. Positive, hopeful, just working through stuff I have, like just sorting things out, trying to, get into a different space. I'm moving and stuff like that. So, but today I was just thinking like, about things. I was thinking about like just moving things from my house. And like I had in my garage like boxes of stuff from my spouse that had passed away in 17. And I was just thinking like, I hadn't opened those boxes. They were like still taped shut of just stuff of his, right? Like, our daughter, Alexis, and then Adam's family and whoever wanted some of his things. Of course, I gave them whatever they requested. And so then I was looking at those boxes and I was like, you know, it's not about the things that were kept, like the clothing or like just stuff that he had that like reminds you of that person. What you remember about people is how they made you feel. Okay? That's what it is. It's not going to be, I mean, yeah, you could have a memento or something like that that can spark a memory or give you like a feeling, but what you remember about somebody is how they made you feel, right? It's not how they looked. It's not what they bought you. It's not the material items. It's how they made you feel. If it was loved, heard, respected, okay, uplifted, right? You know, you don't want to have people around you that gaslight you, lie to you, um, you know, talk about you when you're not around, basically cowards, right? They want to cut you down, so they're above you or whatever. Those are not the people that you want to be around, because when you think back to the memory of a person, even a friend that you don't talk to or a friend you do talk to, anything in life, you think of the memory that they left with you of how they made you feel. That's how you remember somebody, right? You're like, oh, I really miss that person, man. They gave me so much love. They just like made me feel so good inside. Or you're like, oh man, I do not miss that person, right? Like when you think of it, it's like it's a bad memory because they made you feel let down or disregarded, disrespected, right? So just know that no matter what you have in life, right? Like, I mean, I went through a lot of triumphs with this group and these people trying to mess with my foundation, financials, my relationships, my well-being, my mental mindset, like everything that I possibly could have in life. These people have been screwing around with. But you know what? I'll remember that when I think back to how about whoever. I'll be like, oh, that's not a good memory, right? It's how they made you feel, what they did for you, how they showed up. So that's why I always show up. I mean, if I don't like someone, I just don't talk to them. I don't communicate. I don't associate. Okay. I don't have to be fake. I just remove myself. Okay. That's what I do. I don't like to be like, oh yeah, and smile in people's faces and then talk shit about them. That is such a fake person. Like, that person has a lot of work if that's what they do. But I prefer to just, if I am not a fan, I am just not around you. Right. And that's nothing personal. I mean, it's just like if you don't vibe with me or mesh with me, then like I'm just not going to be around you. All right. But I always try to exude confidence in myself so that, I do show up for people, that I am uplifting you, that I do care. If I care, then I will be there. Okay. I will be words of advice. I will be a helping hand. I will be a shoulder to cry on, right? An ear to listen, whatever it is. So I may not have much to give to people, but that really doesn't even matter. It's what you give of yourself to people that they remember, right? You know, when you say, "Oh, that's such a good person, man. They've got a good heart," or whatever, they give the shirt off their back. That's someone that has given you good memories of how they've treated other people, you see? So, forget about what stuff looks like on the outside of people, okay? Or what they have or don't have. Because really what it comes down to is, how did they treat you? How did they show up for you? What advice did they give that changed you, moved you, helped you along, right? Or they were honest with you. Because the best people in life are the ones that are brutally honest, not in a mean way, but it's constructive criticism out of love. They want to tell you the truth so you can change it or recognize it. If you don't know there's an issue, how can you ever change it if no one tells you or you aren't able to recognize it? You see what I mean? Sometimes it can come across as someone getting their feelings hurt by hearing the truth, but that's really just because the person is not allowing the truth, right? Instead, they disregard, or they're like, "Ah, that was so mean." Really, is it mean? Maybe take a look at it, because if you're talking to a truthful person and they tell you something about yourself, then they're telling you out of care, right? For you to change that, or maybe just recognize it, right? I've been there before. I've had something in life, like I said on the last video, I've always been like, in the past, a firecracker that would just kind of go off. I would just say stuff before I'd think about it. And it could come off really rude to people. But that was, you know, when I had two people, okay, tell me within a few years, and then years later, a third person told me the same thing, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I am that way. And then the Lord was showing me. That was like my longest lesson, right? One of the longest lessons I had was to not fire off like that, right? Think about what you say, you know, in the sense of like maybe just being a little bit more positive with the words you choose, instead of being like, oh, you're a dang idiot. You know what I mean? Like, I've been there. I've fired off on people when they get on my nerves, okay? But now I'm, you know, it's been years. I'm in a different era. And I appreciate the truth that people did give me, right? Because I actually did change that. It was accurate, you know, when I was doing that a long time ago. I think it was just the energy that people put me in. It just made me defensive all the time. So just know that what people remember of you, right? Whether you're here, not here, they remember how you made them feel, right? If you felt comforted, loved, cared about, right? Respected, heard. Okay? So just know that. That carries on longer than any material item could, right? It's so important. And that's what I always know about God. He makes me feel loved and cared about. He nurtures me. He lifts me up. He pulls me out of the dirt if I'm feeling bad, you know? Like, that's why every time I think of the Lord, I think of like such positive things, because that's what He's always been for me. And it's like, man, you know, I owe you. I owe you everything I have, because what you've done for me. So just remember that, right? People remember how you treat them. That is the memory that you leave every time you encounter somebody, right? So that's really important. I've always known that my whole life. And I've always tried to do that. But, you know, now that I'm not my firecrackery self, just firing off my thoughts, hopefully, you know, people weren't offended in the past of my life, of me ever just saying whatever. But honestly, if I were to say something to somebody, it was the truth. I was telling them about their self or what I recognized. It may not have come across in the nicest way. Okay. So apologies for that if anyone's feelings were ever hurt. But I would only say that if I cared and was trying to get someone to recognize. So, yeah. But yeah, have a good day, guys. I hope you enjoy, get outside, breathe the fresh air, go into nature, right?